I'm sure a lot of you already know what an Ahupua'a is. But for the few of you who don't know what is an Ahupua'a, let me try to explain. So these Ahupua'as, these land divisions, they were an efficient and sustainable way of managing the land so that all the people that lived within that particular Ahupua'a could sustain themselves from the ocean to up here, up Mauka up on the mountain. That's how these Ahupua'as ran, from the ocean all the way up Mauka to the mountaintops. So this Ahupua'as, basically what it was an ancient Hawaiian land division system which contained all types of ecosystems. Yeah, so these Ahupua'as was an important system to which the Hawaiians controlled the food source and the sustainability of the population that lived within these Ahupua'as. It was an important part to the sustainability of the Hawaiian population at that time. Until this very day, in this modern day, we still have these land divisions, the Ahupua'as. So every island in Hawaii has their own set, whole bunch of Ahupua'as. Now they run all over the place, but the one thing that they all have in common is they all run from the ocean all the way up Mauka to the mountain. So they have all aspects of the different type of land terrains, from the ocean to mid-level to up top side of the mountainside, to where they have the watersheds, they have the farmland, and they have the ocean and everything else in between, so it could be much more sustainable within that particular land division or Ahupua'a. And in between the tops and the bottom of these Ahupua'as, the landscape, the climate, the land features, they all vary, they all differ. From sandy white beaches, to rocky shoreline, to green sand beaches, black sand beaches, to fresh, fertile soil. Yeah, so it varied. We also have the watersheds, the green side on the other side of the island, which is heavily forested, a lot of surface rivers to the west side down here, where you can see there's actually 0 rivers. All the rivers are subterranean, they're underground. So the size of these Ahupua'as, they all vary from small little itty bitty Ahupua'as to huge, big, massive Ahupua'as. Now how did they decide that? I don't know. Probably the ruling chief of that area decided or dictated the boundaries for that particular Ahupua'a. So I'm going to give you a count of all the Ahupua'as in Hawaii, on all the major islands, all the inhabited islands. So what I did, I bust out my my Ahupua'a map, which is Google, and I went count. Yep, I went count every single Ahupua'a in Hawaii. The total came out to 422 Ahupua'as. That's a lot of land divisions. That's a lot of Ahupua'as. So let me go from Niihau. Niihau, you got 21 Ahupua'as. Kauai, you have 67 Ahupua'as. Oahu, you have 89. Molokai, you got 47. Maui, 139 Ahupua'as. Lanai, you got 11. Kaho'olawe, we have 16. And this island, the big island of Hawaii, we have 325 Ahupua'as. Yes, 325 separate land divisions. It was pretty cool how the Hawaiians sought sustainability back in the day to maintain the population that lives within these within all of these different Ahupua'as. Talking about people of the land, they look at what they had and they thought, which is the best way that we can sustain this land in such an efficient way to where all the population that lives within these lands, they'll have enough food to sustain themselves. And if they have any leftovers, what they did was they bartered, they traded. They traded from the people who lived up Mauka side of the mountain to the people who live on the shoreline. So wherever you live in Hawaii, go find out, go Google like I did, which Ahupua'a do you live in? It's pretty interesting. So I live in Kohana Iki Ahupua'a on the Kona coast of the Big Island of Hawaii. Go and find out which Ahupua'a you live in, because if you live in Hawaii, then you reside within an Ahupua'a. So no matter where you live in Hawaii, if you live in Hawaii, you live in what was once an ancient Hawaiian Ahupua'a, which remains till today. So whether you live in Waikiki, Waipahu, Kaneohe, Lehui, Hanapepe, Keanakakai, Lanai, Waimea, Kona, Kohala, doesn't matter where you live in Hawaii. As long as you reside in Hawaii, you live in an Ahupua'a. And see if you can pronounce the name, the Hawaiian name. So go ahead and bust out your computer or your cell phone, Google Ahupua'a, and see what's the name of your Ahupua'a that you live in. Very cool, huh? So if you knew about these Ahupua'as that you live in, right on, very cool, good for you. And if you didn't know that you lived in an Ahupua'a, well, now you do.